This is an ABC News special report.
Good morning, I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air because authorities are holding a briefing about the shooting death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk was shot and killed in front of thousands of people during an event at Utah Valley University. The shooter is still on the loose, and authorities say they're searching for a lone gunman who fired a single shot from more than 100 yards from where Kirk was sitting at the time. And those officials
is my perspective, and we're looking at the synopsis of this. It's been just such a dark day, and I think it sucks that it overshadows the natural tragedy that September 11th has always presented to this country. It's been my synopsis that they need to be looking for one of these more rural deer hunter, loner, off the grid type personalities, because the way that this fell out, it was just such a low level of security and anticipation of something of this magnitude that this type of person fit in the crowd, that his description could be any of the males that are running around. That, it's so unfortunate, that a guy who really was a purporter of inner city violence and really talking against that he got to come face to face with this. And my heart goes out that even in this, I do want to mention that, the children that suffered another shooting incident in that same county or district as Columbine, that was the bigger tragedy, truly, because again, in these rural areas, unlike in the inner cities, we're having these random acts of violence that seem to be very senseless, callous, and almost magnifying in terms of their spark. So such a terrible situation. Let's see what the investigative elements have discovered.
An update on the investigation. Let's listen.
Good morning. I am Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. I'd be remiss if we didn't start off today and recognize the significance of the day. Historically, on 9/11, law enforcement has come together as a group to recognize and honor those that sacrificed to preserve the ideals of this country, the freedoms of this country. And instead, we find ourselves today hunting a murderer who chose to violate our rights, the rights of an individual within this country. Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA.
My thing, security measures. Okay. I'm against these. I went to college. I'm against these group discussions or having these grand meetings in the quad outdoor areas. Like even that, like you could tell that these people are working real with the faculty when they're doing this. Them were booking the cheapest college that could get them adjusted, because even faculty would say that, listen, when we have esteemed guests in our venues, we usually use this convention center. We usually use this auditorium for question and answer, right? They may have some, but it's very silly to have a dignitary on a college campus in an exposed environment for more than an hour. I don't care what the college is. It's always a factor because collegiate atmospheres are very much in this. We don't have a firearm. And I'm not saying that, Utah, they probably have, but still is a very low. The security is not the police force from the city. It's always the campus security or the campus police, right? The policing element is always a little bit more redressed in the collegiate atmosphere.
Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny. They faced threats.
See, I thought that was the worst part, because it was an older guy that got found with a pellet gun. And like those two people who, like all these guys, like these guys, that is, imagine like the weight of bearing that people blaming them. They got the police was so wrong. And that's why I'm saying that this deer shooter loner, off the grid sort of personality that I think probably might emerge to be the shooter. Somebody really accomplished. They're using like 30-06 and long rifles at a long distance to shoot, animals, for hunting or cruelty, but they believe that's alpha. So there's a whole culture of that in America, that the whole buck shooting and all. So I would imagine that, and see, given that they spent so much time scrutinizing an older guy with the pellet gun, there's nothing wrong with illegal to have a pellet gun on in his car or wherever, right? This guy, he definitely didn't get shot with a pellet gun, right? So much time, and this is why I'm saying why the venue, by being in such a collegiate atmosphere, lower level college is not the Utah University, is not Salt Lake City PD, is really dealing with a very ignorant or Deputy Dewey sort of police element, where it like they're running around chasing their tail while this guy's running through the woods, getting into a pickup truck, driving to a location that's off grid, and now he basically eating, he fishing in the pond and lake, and he know how to survive off generators, right? Like, this guy could be the most hard to profile quote unquote assassin in the history of how they have to uncover these sort of mysteries. So this is sad. Like, and even it's sad that he's having to reveal this, that during their investigation, they put scrutiny on guys that probably are having hellish experiences at home.
We ask the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects. They were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative.
And even now they got this is a viral video of this guy celebrating after the shooting, really looking despicable. Like, the way that he's, and I'm sad to say, he's a white guy. He's not a black guy. He's celebrating after. It's just, putting him out. Like, imagine, like, they are being very callous with exposing people who were not guilty of this crime at this time. And I'm not condoning his energy around it, but I saw that. I'm like, they are exposing a lot of people before they've gotten any edgeway in what happened.
Process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock all day yesterday, through the night last night. Investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., this subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads.
See, it was a hot lead. That was a hot lead. You needed to be able to, like that guy, given his probably description that he not somebody that he don't stand out in that community like I would. He definitely is a guy that could cut his hair, go bald head, put on a baseball cap, and you don't know what the hell, right? So them spending all that time with those quote unquote persons of interest who was on the ground, all of the mystery is showing what happened. And we're going to show some videos that some people caught on the camera, in the event. Might not be showing the actual shooting, but it's telling how there's a camera person who was catching this guy running across the roof.
We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for. for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel.
And I hate to stop here, but I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and I swear that, if you come on now, like they can't tell me or my 6 kids, and they can't tell my father, and they can't tell my neighbors that we bad people, right? But I hate that the society is able to say that because we live in Chicago, all of us are negative people. We all can relate to that. See, it's evil in all of our environments. And that's the sad part about it. I think that's kind of what Charlie Kirk missed. That when it's just, you cannot ask for targets on yourself, and that it's evil in every culture, every people. I'm a father of 6 children. I've not done any crime. I was born and raised in Chicago. I did it the best way that I could to be a good example for my 4 sons and 2 daughters. I was lucky to not have to go criminal to make it, right? I don't think it's fair for an environment to be called or questioned because of the bad seeds from the tree that have developed. So that's sad for the people of Utah, because this is very unique to their environment.
We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will.
There's so much taxpayer dollars. He called up all the major agencies that are working to find one person. And I mean, I swear that that's why I think the message is that, these people doing these political, right wing, especially the right wing group, doing these meet and greets, they need to be featured in bigger universities where security is a heightened measure, where there's surveillance everywhere. You know what? University of Utah is better than a Utah State University. You know what? A UCLA is better than a Berkeley. Like however it goes in your city. It's like they need to feature closed door venues where we have to ticket, we have to execute searching metal detectors. I think that the main lack of performance here was in his the strategic security around his Turnaround USA group. They just way too God praying over, and God does not cover you from bullets. You can't pray about how bullets fly. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of Americans, that at this point, you have to make measures, precautions, and very prescriptive actions to make sure that you eliminate the threat of exposure. I think that's the bottom line here, that these guys doing these these guys coming from left to right wing, going to these meet and greets where everybody can be accessible, has to be more indoor, cannot be open air exposed. And mostly you need to be able to screen at least the participants that are close enough to gain action. It's not a 200-yard rifle shot if he's indoors.
Catch this individual. Having
Well,
walked
200
through
yards.
through the hallways of the school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was.
Yeah.
And how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual.
And right now, I just want to, call on the spiritual empowerment and strength of the universe. And for those that believe in God and those that don't believe in God, for those that are atheistic and those that believe in whatever religious element that you believe, I think that we do need to channel a large amount of spiritual moments of silence, reverence, and even praying in your tongue, affirming in your nature, and really sort of lifting positive vibrations to everybody who's had to witness this. That we're not realizing that these traumatic events, this is a generationally tragic event. So like for my generation, like the assassination where Tupac was murdered, for my father's generation, when John F. Kennedy was murdered, these elements, they dissociate the generation. So right now, everybody's going to have to be a little bit more mechanicalized, disassociate, compartmentalized to cooperate, to move forward. And that compartmentalization is a part of our mental stress and sort of depression. as a group, and certain ages are really going to have a tough time dealing with it. So that's very important to try and always to really be cognizant of that this is not a lightweight situation. Everybody's seeing this type of event playing out on camera. Like, it used to be illegal to have snuff films and all that type of stuff. Like, because of social media, like, this is the only time in history where they're displaying these acts of violence for everybody to see. So in this 2 week stretch, in this 1 week stretch, we've seen like the girl that got stabbed on the subway. That is, you're not supposed to physically see that. They're like, even the people that were sitting there, everybody mad about them not helping them people, you were shocked by seeing something like that. Like, everybody's not gung-ho with a weapon to jump to the front line. Those are firefighters, those are Marines. That's a certain type of man that when action is going, they jump to the front. Every individual is not characteristic to go combat that sort of crisis. So, everybody is in shock. That the level of shock, the level of mental lack of feasibility, or really sort of disharmony emotionally and alchemically with how we function as humans, that's disturbing. And I think for some cultures, like the African American culture, death is such a occurrence that they may not be handling it as sincerely as they need to be. Some people on the liberal side are being very callous. Some left-wing people are being very wrong about how they're just being very irremorseful and jumping on them about how he got killed. And I think that a lot of people on the right wing who liked him had affinity for him, and even people on both sides that really are just human beings like myself. And like, this is a moment where there's a lot of questioning of humanity and a need for sort of redress in the way that we approach each other, and even how we secure our own safety, because we have children, and my children are more important than everybody that was at that event yesterday. Now we got to get to that point as men, that I don't need to be in the front of 1,000 people who really truly don't care about me if I can be compromised to where my wife and my children can't see me again because I was around people who didn't hold my safety at the highest magnitude of importance.
Or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Bowles in charge.
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles, and I am the Special Agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners.
All right, we'll take a break right there, and we'll come back to his segment after we show a little bit of the clips of how things went down. So we're going to go a little redress, show what actually happened yesterday, during the tragedy that occurred. And now we're just getting a synopsis of what the investigators are coming to find out.
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles, and I am the Special Agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning, I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle.
30-06, I bet.
That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled.
See, in my synopsis, I mentioned that I have not seen this. That my theory is that this guy is an experienced deer hunter, really good with those 30-06 long rifles. He just said a bolt action rifle, right? Everybody talking about the Night of the Jackal type dude for this. No. This is a kid that grew up hunting deers and ducks and all that good shit out in the outback. He just really good at 200 yards out. Period. He might have been in the military, but this is a lone gunner. This got the lone gunner written all over him.
FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon.
It's sad.
Investigators have also collected footwear.
It, damn, so they got a gun. They found a long rifle, and they found footwear in the forest.
Expression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Any attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him. We also continue to grieve with the family and the community. It's our community. If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website at www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting.
The civilians got to solve the crime.
You can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small or insignificant. Thank you.
And bear in mind that he's saying that surveillance camera, they know when the guy came on the campus, they got surveillance of him getting to the roof, going through staircases and all this. Like the Utah Valley State University, the campus police is not a good measure for your security if you're visiting these places as a person of social following. And I just watched the kid I Show Speed come to Chicago on a bus, ride all the way through Chicago, do a 24-hour in real life stream. This kid he walking through the city of Chicago. He is a full out target. Like everybody love I Show Speed, but is every criminal in Chicago will try to take advantage of him, right? If they can. But this kid got enough security to get him through the city of Chicago, go to O Block, get to Portillo's, and he all over the city jumping at the pier and all this, and nobody even stake his gold chain or rob nobody along the group, because him as an individual, he's got his security measures in place to travel through this dangerous city, famous, and nothing happened. That definitely shows that turn around America, they are not serious with security. They did not take this man's life is as serious as they should be, given his merit as a popular person. I mean that. Like, go watch the I Show Speed in real life stream of what he's doing. He's been to Cincinnati, Nashville, walking through Nashville, Tennessee. It'll go there. There's thugs in Nashville that'll try to take his money if he didn't have his security right over there, right? All right, we're going to kind of end it there. The question and answer kind of sucks. So right now we're going to go on to the photos of a person of interest. Now I hope that this person ain't getting framed up, but I guess they said they got pictures of this guy getting to the stairwell and going upstairs. We got to assume that this is it. So the FBI agents did just mention that, they saw all the surveillance of how this guy got on the stage. We're going to look and see. So now we're going to look at Law and Crime. Go ahead and check out Law and Crime Sidebar. Subscribe to their channel if you get a chance, because they do have a lot of the late-breaking, provocative law and informational news coming almost off the pipeline.
The FBI has just released this photo of a person of interest in connection with the horrific killing of Charlie Kirk from yesterday. And this comes as they provided new updates and evidence today as they race to find this assassin.
Okay, so this all we want.
FBI
This is what they have. Now, if this guy is involved, how do you point that guy out of a lineup? Right? And that's what's so unfortunate. The narrative of every criminal looking like me. Look at him. He don't look like me. Right? He don't look nothing like me. And hold on, I'm kind of missing. I apologize, but yeah, check us out. Check us totally out. Check his face.
This photo of a person of interest in connection with the horrific killing
And
of
my YouTube
Charlie Kirk
channel
from
is just
yesterday.
slowly
And this
developing,
comes as
so
they
I
provided
will
new
upgrade.
updates
We
and
will
evidence today
reinforce
as
better.
they
But
race to
at
find
this
this
time, I'm a
assassin.
father with
The
6 kids
conservative
trying to bring
influencer
the
was in the
truth to
middle of
people.
debating a
So
member of the
bear
public
with
during an
me.
outdoor
I
event
appreciate
at
you all.
Utah Valley University.
Get a
when
chance, like,
single
subscribe,
bullet
and share.
ripped through his neck. Chaos, confusion, a shot that has been heard around the world. We are going to break down what we just heard with former FBI and
Definitely
CIA
comment.
agent Tracy Walder. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
And I chose to wait till today to come out with a lot of my synopsis, because I wanted to get a little bit of what we just saw. The FBI, the investigative elements of what they found, other than everybody's speculation and pointing out guys with pellet guns and young guys that were attached to the crowd and accusing them of a crime that's just going to get somebody the death penalty.
Co-founder of Turning Point USA, a stalwart friend to some of the most well-positioned people in our government, and yes, a controversial online presence with millions of followers, is dead at the age of 31. This is a dark day for our country. I talked about this on social media yesterday. I'm going to say it again. We cover some of the worst evils in this country.
Damn, what happened to you? Excuse me. Oh my God! Wait, we getting over. It's that time of year. I'm releasing the mucus from everybody else's experience. But oh my God, the shiner on his eye. Did somebody punch you, dude? Wait.
And I was still sick and shocked and disgusted by what I saw yesterday. And I just tell everybody out there, please think about and pray for Charlie Kirk's family.
Did somebody punch you in the eye, buddy? No, okay, I quit. I digress. That was interesting to see his eye looking like that, given this. But this is so terrible.
And friends,
it really
because they are now left with the new reality of pain and loss and confusion that victims' family members deal with every day.
And I'ma say this: I'm a father, 6 kids. Me and their mother have, our oldest son is 19, our youngest son is 8 years old. I don't care what color you are. I support family. Like the human's existence is dependent on families evolving. Men and women have to make children, period, for the human species to survive. I don't see no victory in this man not being there for his children. I don't see anybody. I think it's cruel to even celebrate that this family does not have a part of it out of just irrational recklessness or irrational.
This married father of 2, he is credited with rallying young Republican voters during the 2024 presidential election. He had this famous debate-style events at colleges around the country, drawing praise from some, criticism from others, and this was his final one. It was and we cover some of the worst evils in this country almost daily.
My guy Jesse Weber got smacked in the eye last night, arguing about Charlie Kirk with
just
somebody.
tell everybody out there, please think about and pray for Charlie Kirk's family and friends, because they are now left with the new reality of pain and loss and confusion that victims' family members deal with every day in this country. This married father of 2, he is credited with rallying young Republican voters during the 2024 presidential election. He had this famous debate-style events at colleges around the country, drawing praise from some, criticism from others, and this was his final one. It was during one of those college events on Wednesday that Kirk was shot and killed. And again, we are about to get into what the FBI just said, but it appears, based on their comments, that this may be a lone gunman. A lone gunman who was atop a roof near the heart of Utah Valley University's campus in Orem. And we are learning, again, new details about that shooter right now from public safety officials and the FBI. We're going to show you the brand new press footage, and I'm going to be bringing on former FBI and CIA agent Tracy Walder to break down what these new developments mean, the potential evidence, how they're going to analyze it. Are we closer to actually catching the suspected shooter? We'll talk about it. But here's what we know. You had event goers who were lined up in an outdoor area to ask this conservative activist questions. questions about things like gun violence and gender identity. And Kirk has this often, these answers that are booming over a microphone at the Quad. There's a lot of political excitement there. But again, controversial figure. And the New York Times reports that 3,000 people had turned out to see Kirk speak.
3,000 people, bro. Like,
This one was
to
called
me,
the American Comeback. Now, Kirk was seated underneath a canopy. He was surrounded by these metal barricades with his own personal security nearby. We can have a separate conversation, and maybe we will, about potentially the lack of security. But
to me, that's the main conversation. And I'm glad he mentioned that. We won't talk about that. We probably won't look at it because it's a long video. But I thought that the lack of security measures, and I mentioned, go check this kid. This kid was able to travel through what's considered the most dangerous city in Chicago with a security force that didn't let nobody come and touch him. This guy could have been covered a lot better.
Seen in videos that were posted to social media, a member of the public standing just a few feet
Mostly, he shouldn't have been in an outdoor exposed area like that with 3,000 people around. Period. That college would have told him that, listen, when Hillary Clinton came in 1992, we held her in this pavilion. You know what I mean? They would tell him that we don't do that. But this is Turnaround America. They're a Christian conservative group that think they probably know everything. They're telling everybody that black people is the problem and pointing fingers at everybody else when you have to look at your own failures and your own flaws. So that God is going to cover us, that is a flaw for them probably. Like them believing that they could pray about it and go outside.
Was questioning Kirk about recent gun violence in America.
So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay.
See, like that, and look at that. His question was how many transgender people have been mass shooters in the last such and such years. He said too many. Like that's like how many? Say a number. Give a number to that. Too many. That's a little bit of it's people in the crowd that could take offense to that, right? Now, and that don't justify what happened here, but I mean, you definitely a little controversial in your speech to not have a very secured metal detector. Everybody that's close to me has to be very much pat down environment.
It's fine. Okay, now,
This isn't Mother Teresa.
There's a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
And at that moment,
Right there.
there was the sound of a single gunshot, and Charlie Kirk fell. If you've seen the videos online.
So he asking them mass shooters, how many mass shooters, and he's asking it why this is going on. Nobody's paying attention to the fact that in Denver, in Colorado, in the same district of Columbine, there is a mass shooting going on. Why this kid is asking the same question? There are kids running from their life in Colorado because nobody's paying, 3,000 people paying attention to him talking about mass shootings and trying to make it seem like gang violence and mass shootings are the same thing. They aren't. They aren't, bro. For real. They aren't. For real. Gang violence is gang violence. That shit is everywhere in the world. Dog. You go to London, you go to China, you go to Japan. Gangs are gangs. When gangs fight gangs, is nasty. But in these school shootings, you just got 10 innocent children that got killed by a random gunman. And because you gotta consider that no act of violence is like they all are equally despisable. But gang and mass shootings are becoming, those are two different phenomenons.
They are awful. We have seen this video. It was taken by people in the crowd. It shows the moment that a bullet literally tore through Kirk's neck, sending him sprawling to the ground. It is horrific. He was carried to a nearby vehicle. He was rushed to the hospital. It was only a few miles away, but he was pronounced dead.
That's so
And Utah officials would later say that they believe that this was a targeted attack, one bullet, one victim.
That's so shameful.
Now,
That's such a coward.
Scattered in all directions. They were screaming.
And why they running, he running. He coming off the wall. He running with the crowd now.
Shots were coming from, and if more bullets would be fired. The shooter was reportedly on the roof of a nearby campus building, the Losi Center. It's about 150 to 200 yards away from the gathering on the Quad. And an unverified video that was posted to social media.
We putting that video up. I'm putting
to show a person laying down on top of the building. Now, law enforcement has not confirmed this video, nor have they said this figure on the roof is the shooter.
We're going to show that video right now.
Okay, this is new.
We show that video right now.
Commissioner of Public Safety and the FBI Special Agent in charge of the investigation provided brand new updates Thursday morning about the gunman. And that is what we want to talk about right now. So what have they learned about him so far? How was he able to get away? Take a look.
Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs.
And we saw that. So right now, you know, my synopsis is that this is a long video. And thanks for watching. I guarantee it'll be better material in the future. Definitely, we're going to rerun all of the videos that are really just around the situation. I'm probably not going to play the actual killing, but the actual video. So here we go.
So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.